Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the last Trade Love live market trading session for 2025 until further notice. Go ahead and share my screens, give everyone a chance to dip in. Let's see here. Okay, so today is December 17th. We are here on this lovely Wednesday. Let's take a look to see what we have as far as news. Alrighty. Don't see anything too crazy for the USD pairs. I think we're looking good there. Let's see. Ooh, I remember. Love our heat map. Love a nice visual for the day. FinViz kind of letting us know that the market probably going to be taking some sells, selling here. Well, we do have some like big sectors that are, majorly in the green. So if you're using your order flow, like Bookmap or anything like that, definitely keep that open. So, we can make sure that there's not some type of like reversal at the open to the downside and then, a buy trend. Okay. Good morning. Who do we have with us here today? All right, Trading Journal. I love Top Steps Trading Journal. However, I love this new Trading Journal because it just is a little bit more in depth. Drop the link in the chat. So, our quote of the day for Pound here is amateurs want to be right, professionals want to make money. I like that. I definitely used to be, or, a mixture of both. I wanted to be right and I wanted to make money, but not all the time do those, they're not, mutually exclusive, I guess. So, as Coach Paul said, our job is to take good trades, not be right, not make money, but taking good trades leads to making money. So, I think that kind of linked us all in full circle here. Alrighty, let's go ahead. We'll be looking at ES, just looking at how we can enter some trades into our demo account with Top Step. But let's go ahead and go look into the markets here. We have the Dow, we have NASDAQ, ES, and gold. So, really quickly here, strategy, very simple strategy. It is just a MA cross, the 10 and the 20 MA, which is our moving average. I use that in combination with our pivot levels and just enter, if at the S0 level, when we have a buying cross, taking that to the R8 and, vice versa on the opposite side. Hey, Courtney, how are you? I sent you an email, girl. Sorry, I've been all over the place traveling and stuff. We'll definitely have to connect. Okay, so very simply there, that's my strategy. Let's go ahead. Well, the strategy that I use, I didn't make it up. It's not mine or anything like that. Just explaining to you what was taught to me. Okay, and how we would use it. So right now, it looks like the Dow here is in our overbought zone, our between our R8 and our R7 levels, looking like it's breaking our structure. Zoom in here with the Dow. Still want to keep our other pairs up just so that we can see. Looks like we're looking at some cells here. I'll just take it step at a time. So remember, EMA, so my EMA cross, we have a cross that came in at 48,450. Today at around 130 to the upside. So the 10 EMA, which is this blue line here, across the 20 EMA for a buy. And it continued to make higher highs, higher lows, and it came right up here just about my goal, I use the pivot levels as take profit zones. So once I had this cross here, price made higher highs, I would be looking to, my take profit area at this R7. If price continued to, make higher highs or saw a lot of buying momentum, then I can make a second TP or a second take profit area there at the R8. Okay, so we're seeing some support here. Actually, let's zoom in really quickly. Okay, so 15-minute time frame. You guys know usually we do our top-down analysis where we go from the 4 hour, we look at the trend, we try to see if there's any, we just want to zoom out, see the entire picture before zooming in and getting in our trades so that we're not caught up in reversals or, trends that, thinking it's a buying trend, but really we're selling. So, you always want to go to the higher time frames, make sure you zoom out and have a higher overview. So for instance, I would be looking at this area here, kind of a support zone. Why is this color? Whatever. So between 48 to 90 to 48, about 360, we have price just coming and touching this area. Every time it comes to this zone, the sellers are unable to move it, below this area. Buyers step in. So a support area here. And so it did it once again. We have some resistance here. So if you want to put, your resistance box or your highs, however you want to label it, you just want to make sure that when you're zoomed in, we were just zoomed in here, that you don't, when price comes, to this area, 48,356, we might have a pivotal level shift. We might want to, take our TP down to this S1 level, but we want to be very cautious when we're doing that, that we know that on the grand scheme of things, this area was actually a major area of support. So very important to, label your charts, make sure you have everything listed. Because once we get in the markets open, we put in trades, especially for scalping. We want to take out as much decision making as we can out of that process. Okay, so again, we had the cross kind of price brought up to this R7, R8 area. We were in a sell, in this case, might take my fib from this high to this low here, bring it out. That helps me to see. So I took this fib here from the high to the low because it was in a sell originally. We had this selling trend here. Price, it's really in consolidation when we looked back, and we're just kind of in this area where price is just kind of bouncing around here. Huge area though, hundreds of points, but again, this is YM. So, and even within consolidation, and I love pairs like that even if you're in consolidation, you can still trade that range on, a lower time frame because of movement and how many points there are to grab. So even within our fib zone, we see it came right up here to the 50% retracement level. Sometimes price can even come up to the 61.8. But YM really likes, the R8 and the 50. We can go to the lower time frames, like the 5-minute, to see if we have any more buying momentum, see what the 5-minute is telling us. 5-minute really respecting the support zone here, the support area here as well. So now we have a kind of consolidation or a little box area. I would be waiting for price to break out of this area. So make a lower low or a lower high. So break above 48,626 or a break below 48,546 to kind of give me an idea of where price wants to go. Does it want to make higher highs, possibly go up to the 61.8 Fibonacci level? Um, Remember on the 15-minute though, kind of saw that it was overbought near the, R8, R7. So if price respects market structure, we don't really have any like major news coming out. So in my opinion, and according to true market structure, price is at a level now where we should be seeing some kind of reversal where and we should start to see some selling momentum. So right now in the 5 minute, again, we just have price kind of bouncing around. We'll see if it comes up here back to the R8 and then wants to, sell when the New York Open, probably when we get a lot of volume. So that's kind of like a quick analysis on how I go through my pairs and determine kind of set up my trade. You got to see what the overall trend is on the higher time frames, kind of mark up key levels, mark up areas of support and resistance on the 15-minute time frame as well, looking at those MAs, making sure you have your trade kind of set up and just waiting for the market to give you a clear entry to either side. All right, this is YM. How do we feel about this? Trading the Dow. Does anyone else trade the Dow? Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone have like a different way or a different area or something completely opposite to my analysis? Again, not always right. This is just what I do. Any tips and tricks? Let me see here. You guys are typing. And again, the strategy is I usually use it again on the 15-minute time frame when we're trending. However, if you have a 15-minute time frame, like if my moving averages kind of just crossing, if this was not the 1 minute and this is how the 15-minute looked a little crazy, then I would probably either, choose not to trade that asset or switch to another one, not trade at all because, we don't have to trade. We could take a break. It's all good. No pressure. Or we go to like a lower time frame. So like go to the 5 minute and see what the pivotal zones are saying and see if we have a cleaner cross on like a lower time frame. Alrighty. Any questions? Any questions? Y'all hit those like buttons. Give me some love. Give me some hearts. Give me something. Let's see. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so that is what I'm looking at here with the Dow. Again, came right back up here to the 48,611, which was, a resistance area in the past. So we'll see what it's doing here. Let's see if this is an area where we can take a sell when price comes back down here to 48,600. If it pushes below, and then if you just wanted to take like a smaller sell, it just made a lower low down here to 48,560 or 48,567 for about 34 points, with YM. So even within, this is the 1 minute time frame, but if I'm not going to wait, if I'm impatient, not waiting for price to break out of this box to give me a clear indication of what the longer move would be, and I'm just scalping, within these zones, then of course, when price came up here to the R8, We got this red, candle here. Price didn't make any, a higher high. Then, of course, taking that down to the S0, when the price got down here to the S0, and I saw that, you know, this the next candle came in as a green candle. We're making higher highs. We're near here. We have some buying momentum. Then I could have, scalped that back up here to the R8. And, if we got to play that kind of barcode move, not that bad, because look here, that started at 813. So if you're just doing something like from 44 points there, then you have another 44 points here, and that's just all within the hour. So sometimes if you're like me, holding on to bigger moves kind of hard, sometimes just scalping. Sometimes I look at the trade there before I go to sleep. I would put like an alert at the S0, an alert at the R8, so that once price comes to this area, I would make sure that I didn't miss it so I could set it up. But holding on to those trades sometimes are so hard. I just rather just sit down for, an hour or two and scalp that range. But looking back at it, it's like I could have held it. So what do you guys do? Do you guys hold your trades? Are you scalping? Where do you feel most comfortable? Because some people don't even they're like, what? You're in and out, in and out. Why didn't you just wait? How do y'all feel? Let's go over in our Top Step trading platform here, Top Step X. Let's go to I'm just going to just put it in our little demo account here. How many people are trading? Where's Kelly? All right, this is our 4 hour. 4 hour kind of looks like we might have some buying, momentum here. However, it's still in a selling. So sometimes when you see buying momentum, that doesn't mean price is going into, a full-blown block buy, if that makes sense. Let's see. Where's my little thingy? On my path tool. So like for instance here, price had, we had this buying pressure. This is a 4 hour with YM, and you have, price making a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. And now we have this buying momentum, as you can see, like in our RSI, where it's, giving us that color there. And so we're buying. However, it might just be in the sense of buying as it's making just a higher low. So knowing, what stage of the market you're in is very important, because right now, even though price is buying, everything, or if you use your SARs, if you use, even using your moving averages here, we're just seeing that it's kind of touching here, touching this 20 EMA here. So we have an hour and a half. Very curious to see how that new 4 hour candle, would open there. But it's still in line here. So okay. So 15-minute. Okay, so we're looking for a sell here. Down to what? 48,560. Oh Lord, I'm all over the place. Okay, of course, bringing my. I don't even want to risk that much there. So I get into a trade. A lot of times I get wicked in, no biggie. Wait for it to come back. Maybe get like a better entry. So I was entered in at 48,584. See price kind of buying. Oh, I was going to see if I could have, moved this next sell stop to that area, but I did not. So for me, I can get into 3 minis with if I'm trading YM. So I just continue to just, add on to the position, moving my stop loss lower until price kind of moves into an area where I feel like I can move it into profit. So from this low to this high, even though we're looking for price to come down here to this S0 in our pivotal zone, sometimes they still just put a fib zone there just to see where price is, at, because sometimes, like I said, it will just come to this 50% area, this 50% zone here, um, on our fib, and do exactly as it's doing here. Buying, we see prices overbought, buying up. But then sometimes we get that selling momentum. So like with our Rinkos here, I love Rinkos because it helps me with the volume. Now you got to play around.
Order filled.
Haven't tried what Rinko kind of bars work best with YM just yet. And just look at the volume, whichever is giving a clear sign. I know with ES, I like the 1 minute, sometimes the 3 minute. So look at the 1 minute, especially with when scalping. So right now, if we would have just looked at our wrinkle bars, all the way from, kind of this area, it's been giving us selling volume, just telling us that, stay in those cells, look for those cells. That's where the volume is right now, even though we have buys here, just an overall view. So that's why I love, those wrinkle bars, and it helps me, to stay in the trade. So I'll be like, oh my goodness, like right there with this green candle. I'll be like, oh, it's touching the 50 here. We're already oversold. We might just start buying. Let me get out of my trade. If I would have gotten in at this point and already been in profit. But if I would have looked at my wrinkle bars would have still been red, still telling me, chill out, Fatima. As y'all know me, I get a little crazy. So I would have still been holding that. Okay, and I'm just going to hold it down to, sometimes if I see like my pivotal zones, if the S0 is saying like exactly that whole number, 48,560, I might, make it 48,561, just a little bit before it gets to that point. You can always come over here to your DOM and just take a look at the ladder. And what that means is just checking to see, when you look at the volume here, where do we see, more of the orders stacked up? Do we have more orders to the upside here? We're seeing once we get to 44,610, kind of dwindling down, 48,600, kind of seeing that as the top, level. And when we go to the downside, what are we seeing here? So right now, what time is it? 8:40. Again, we're in that kind of range here. So price kind of just moving around. But as we can see, our take profit zone to the downside is right around this area. And again, this is practice. So it's not going to be, exactly or completely accurate if you're in your live and looking at the DOM. So I'll take it with a grain of salt, but it's the same, premise. You're looking at the amount of volume that we have, amount of orders that are stacked up, either to buys or sells, at this price point. So for instance, we wouldn't want to just be greedy and try to take price down to 48.50 when we're seeing that at 48.550. It's a really low chance. Even this, even this level here is kind of pushing it a little bit. But we're still moving. We're still going. Let's see with our, okay. Still giving us some selling momentum. If it pushes below this level here, get in for another 2. Right now I can, move prices making lower lows and lower highs. So I'm in profit now. I can continue to, pull my stop loss a little lower so that I am, you know, reducing my risk as much as possible. Let's see what my girl Courtney's saying. She holds her trades, but of course, Courtney holds her trades, but like she said, she's a swing trader. But but Courtney taught me something really, really valuable. Well, taught the whole class. When she said, because I was like, oh my gosh, I always want to move my trade. I want to do this. And you told me, don't go into Trade Locker or whoever we were using at the time. Don't go into your broker, go to Trading View. And we would have had our, position tools set up. Well, what we should have, such as, in this position. So once we, broke out of that level, and had us all set up here. So she's really good with, telling us how to set up our trades properly. And she says, just go to Trading View. Trading View so that you're still in profit, you're good. Because that was my issue. I'm like, no, I need to lock in. I'm 100, 200. That's a bill right there. Let me go ahead and move my stop into profit. And then I was getting wicked out, prematurely, and then struggling to find the correct entry back in the trade. So it was just a mess. And then she would be like, you see, if we would have held it, we would have been straight. And we're like 300 pips in profit because Courtney's still, I think Courtney, you're trading futures now or learning. But I think Courtney's still doing forex. So I know a lot of us are still in forex, still trading that market. So, Courtney's still good with that. But yeah, very good tip. Keep your eye. If you're like that, you want to move your trades, you get really um distracted and want to move your stop loss and your take profit and things like that, just don't even go back to your broker. Just look at your Trading View and your position, and go make your decisions from there. Okay, so right now price kind of came down to our 61.8. Look at what our Renko bars did. Immediately went to green. So if I wasn't running my mouth, maybe I could have gotten out just a couple of points in profit. Got stopped out. No big deal. We're in our demo. But that's pretty much how I would have played that kind of. What time is it? 8:44. That was a huge, move back up. But again, if I was paying attention, wasn't over there, I would have been, horrible example, but it's for for me to be showing right then and there for it to come and wick out. But if I wouldn't have moved my stop, I wouldn't have gotten wicked out. It would have been right back to the entry point, but y'all get it. We can still enter back in. I didn't get all the way down to the S0. But as we can see, like for instance, NASDAQ going into, a buy on the 15-minute. Let's see if it comes back up here to 24,463 and see how it reacts at this level. Same thing with ES. Let's see if, let me move our YM to that area as well. But then when we're playing in the box, when we are, taking those trades prematurely, we know we're only, risking $30 and things of that sort. That's a risk that you take when we're playing in that consolidation as well. But we're gonna get back in. Current interval only. No biggie. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and set up these trades here. And I'm going to just mark up my charts and then I'll explain it to you guys. 15-minute. This is just kind of so something like this. What I'm setting up here is just a short term reversal. I'm seeing that, of course, price made that lower low, came out of, we're making higher highs, broke out of this area of support, came all the way down here to this P4 kind of area, which is a good kind of reversal zone. Once we saw this kind of doji candle here to the buy side, and I know I have a lot of colors on my chart, so I hope you guys can see this. Let's see, let me take this off. Okay. Let's zoom out here. We're looking at NASDAQ now. Okay. So again, made a lower low, higher high, lower low. This is kind of the support area here. So again, if we would have marked up our charts, we would have seen here while we were scalping or trading that this was a support area, this 25,393 kind of area. And so price coming down here and immediately buying up wouldn't have been a surprise. Definitely would have seen that coming. This was this high area before price broke out. So I would have marked that up as well. That's 25,427 area. So once price kind of touched this area, this is this new 15-minute candle would have came in green here. And then we would have gotten kind of like your typical 3-bar reversal on the 15-minute time frame, just a little bit prematurely here because we don't have that, this bar needs to close. Still have 10 minutes, but we can see it forming. When you know your, chart patterns, you can kind of see it coming before it comes. Okay, so going down to the 5-minute, this was like in a high here, resistance area at 25,446. This 5-minute candle broke above there. Boom, this is where I would have been in the trade. Green volume here. Taking it back up to this R8, which also, that's where I had that kind of fib there from this high to this low. And as we can see, so take profit area. So this might get might get a little tricky. Let's talk this out. So whenever you guys hear me say like take profit 1, take profit 2, that means that in those areas, I sense a little either support or resistance. And so I want to secure my trades at that area. So for instance, take profit 1 would be right over here for this trade at 25,465. Because that's where a couple things are happening here. That's where our, 50 level here on our fib level. That is also kind of where our EMA, this isn't our stop level. I haven't looked at our stop. We would have our stop, excuse me, a little bit below where we had that breakout before. So if price goes below this kind of, stop area 25,426, definitely don't want to be in that trade because then it would be making lower lows. Okay, so that would be for me, take profit 1, take profit 2, definitely would be around this R7 area, which as we can see was also where we had a little bit of support here, our wick there. So that would be my TP2. And then TP3 would be around this R8 level. Sometimes price doesn't go all the way to, your pivotal zone. So you have to look at your volume. And so if I see something like our fib 786 level here, I would definitely, use that as an area where I would look at my volume to see if price can push a little higher, or even when I get to that area, then I'm looking to see if I should take some off, or whatever the case is. So that's how I come up with those areas. So take profit one um, would have been this 50. So if we would have gotten in this trade here, ideally, around this level here, once we had that break at 25,430, price kind of came up here, almost touched the 50, came back to the entry, made another green candle wave, finally touched the 50,61.8. So the ideal entry again would have been around, this level here, once we saw price breaking above this kind of wick from this 15-minute candle. So once price kind of broke above 25,432, we had a little bit of a pullback there, no big deal. Price continued to, make higher highs, touch that 50. We're seeing, again at that, when price touches these kind of areas, that's when you're going to see, a lot of volume, a little bit of a pullback before it continues moving in its direction. So let's go down. We're in the 5-minute. We can go to the 1 minute. Is it gonna, continue to make lower lows? It's kind of touch that area, or are we going to, do a full retracement to the upside before, the New York Open? And that's when the 1 minute can tell you. So remember, we have these take profit one, take profit two kind of areas here. Well, on our 1 minute, as we can see, price touch came down here towards this S0 to 25,390. Didn't quite touch there, but it's close enough. Remember, these aren't like areas that the market is definitely going to go to at these levels. So that's why we just call them zones, areas. Touch that level, made a higher high, higher low. So right now, before we even got, would have received our cross, again, not really a fan of, our EMA crosses on the 1 minute, not too much structure. So we're just looking at price action, right? Made a higher high, made a higher low. That might have been my first indication, okay, cool. I can get into this buy. Looks like price is going to retrace here. 25,416. And again, price just makes higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. Once we see, again, love a good box. Once we see price kind of break out of this range, that, will give me a good confirmation that we're going to continue into these buys to these higher levels. So let's go ahead and put it in our demo. Micro NASDAQ. All righty, we're getting some buying momentum. Let's go ahead and change our TP level. This is our latest, area of support. So going to move my stop loss below that zone if I was taking this trade. And then 25 around 484, kind of this area. That's going to be my TP. Kind of already have it at that level. Again, we can go and look at our DOM, look to see what the market is telling us at this level. Looks like there's a lot of volume in this area. Price just made a higher high. Once I see price break above that level, I'll add on another there. So I'm in with 3. And as we can see, alrighty, so NASDAQ, you guys go and look in Trade Love, where we have all the kind of breakdown with, the contract size and things of that sort. We're on a mini. So we'll see here if we get activated, we are in profit. Once price kind of breaks, makes a higher high, I would definitely be moving, my stop loss a little bit below this area, 25,435. Okay, we made a higher high. I would feel confident now then decreasing my risk a little bit. I don't like to, take it exactly to, previous areas. So not just exact. NASDAQ, I like to give it a little bit of room. As long as I'm not risking more than, $150 on any of my trades in any of these markets, I'm pretty much good to go. So really here, if we're looking at exact levels, always mark up your charts. This was our area of support. You don't want to get sometimes, the market starts to move, especially around the New York Open, and comes like below levels, and we get to move in our stop loss around. And so when you label your charts, it just kind of as a reminder, hey, this is there for a reason. It's actually support. If price goes below this area, you don't want to be in that trade. You need to be in sales. Okay, so Courtney said, okay, sorry, this is from what we were talking about before. It takes about a week for your trades to hit TP, and I've been trading Euro USD lately. How nice would it be? I love trading so much. That would be so boring for me. But I have other things. You guys know this is our last week of trading. So, swing trading would also, for this class, me teaching this class here, swing trading would be awesome because it would so much free up my time. Whoop, whoop, to do what I want to do outside of trading. Okay, so it's 9 o'clock. Do we have some headline news going on? What the heck? Trade hit TP though. Whoop whoop. Let's look at it came up here, hit all of those areas, broke out of that level as we expected. And then of course, when price comes up to this area, we want to give it a second because we would be looking for sells back to the downside. And so let's take a look at our other markets. Alrighty, that hit take profit zone. Awesome. Took up plus, what we lost in our previous YM trade. YM still, kind of struggling, just bouncing around here. I want to make another box just to remind myself that I would like to wait till YM kind of gets out of this kind of consolidation range, because like when ES is consolidating, sometimes you can be trading within that box because it may not be too large of a range. However, NASDAQ, YM, these boxes are hundreds of points. So when we get, knocked around, only 83 in this case, knocked around, that could really mess us up. But anywho, price is doing exactly what we expected. Came back up here to the R8. Looks like we're still, this is now where you would go to get out of the higher time frames, come over maybe to the 5 or the 3 minute. If the 3 minute is something that your pair that you can use as an in-between for your pair. Okay, let's kind of clean this up. It broke out of our box. It's still heading up here to this R8. So NASDAQ, I would give it a little second, but to see if price is going to, come up here, break above our 20 EMA. Oh, look, it is. Who's trading NASDAQ? Okay, you guys, let's take a look at, okay, so we see what NASDAQ is doing. It's kind of heading back up here to the 24,488. Like getting back into a trade like that, Let's try to do it. 24,488 is that take profit level. So if I was trying to get into something like that where we just had a couple of points here, wrinkle charts maybe on the 30-second, just to kind of let me know what's going on. I would also go to the 30-second just to perfect my entry. Having some buying momentum here. I would definitely check the 1 hour. 1 hour's buying as well. So now this could be a little tricky entry here. I'm trying to see if price is going to buy up to that level.
Order filled.
Definitely don't want to risk all of this here. Okay. I would be looking for, waiting for, a little bit of more of a confirmation. But for everything that the market is telling us on the lower time frame, just risking 70 points there. This would kind of be my area. Oh, what happened? See if, the market is going to continue to buy at this zone. Very risky trade. But looks like there's a lot of, orders and volume here to the upside. So we'll just see. To re-enter a trade like that. However, once I saw this this wick here, that would have been kind of my entry to the downside, looking for that sell. But we're having kind of conflicting information. It's the 9 o'clock hour, so we'll just let it play out. But, just kind of, I like to get my trades in before 8:45 if I'm trading around this time. And then around 9:45, I would re-enter if I'm still trading around that time, just because around this time we have options coming in. We have, so many different orders from different markets being traded around this time. So I like to let it play out just a bit. Like right now, we're seeing that the 5-minute, we had this wick up here. It kind of got back up to the R8. That would have, was a little too slow there. But we see, so okay, we have our new 5-minute candle coming up. We have a flat bottom. Let's kind of clear this up here, because we already hit all these TP levels. TP1 hit, TP2 hit, TP3 hit. We're in a re-entry to the upside. We're just passing, it hit all of those fib levels. So it hit the 61.8, it hit the 786 level. So right now, it's hit those, touched all those zones. We would be looking for price to continue to sell, because remember, we had this cross here. But all the times you have to know your pairs, know your patterns. When, price does a big flush like this in the 7 and 8 o'clock hour to the downside, we usually get a reversal back up to that kind of entry point, and then price continues to continue in that sell trend. Remember, we looked at our FinViz, we looked at all that great stuff. So right now, just being very cautious, with that trade at that level. Looks like it's going to continue to buy, but it's already hit our areas. We should be looking for sells, in my opinion, from, the strategy. Okay. Alrighty. ES, kind of the same thing. Drop back down here. Yes, my favorite pair. If you would have done a fib from this high to this low, price, came from this level, 68, 63, touch the 50, touch the 61.8, touch the 786 level. And then, so did the same exact thing, came right back up to the area, you know, where it broke from this support. So price made higher highs, had the support level, broke this level, came back up here to retest that level, came back down, came right back up. And now, still coming back up to, we have like these wicks. So sometimes we're going to see kind of candlesticks come back up to those wick areas as well and play in those zones. We might see it even continue because it was at this S0. We know that for pivotal zones, S&P, so EX really likes the S1 and the R7. So those are always my TP1 areas for S&P. So 68.75, it's come back up here. We'll see how the 15-minute candle opens up and if it's going to, come back up to this area or close. We did have, some liquidity here. I like to wait till the 9:45 candle. But we're just practicing too the, how price reacts at our pivotal levels, how to set up our trades on the higher time frames using our moving averages. If you're scalping, how to do that as well. Always take your trades in, your demo first just to get your feet wet. If you're unsure about anything, and then hop into, your live account. Also, if you guys are in live accounts or even just, anytime you take a payout, I will always just recommend putting a portion of your payout, if you're in a funded account, to your live accounts. And, if you're in Tasty Trade, if you're using Tasty Trade, they do have some free courses, option courses, future courses. So check those out. Who else has courses? There's a bunch of different resources all around the sea. They have courses as well. TopStep has free courses, videos, just a bunch of different things. I'm going to drop some links here. But all right, family. So before I wrap up, I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you guys. Thank y'all for showing up, trusting me with your time, like your growth, your questions, your journey as traders. This community has meant more to me than you guys could possibly realize. So I'm so genuinely proud, right, of every single one of you guys and choosing to keep learning and pushing forward, even in these hard days, even, in these markets that have been crazy and things like that. I know this is not the end, just a pause. We're going to just do a quick reset. Big things are in store. I definitely need to get some more support on the team so that I can execute this community as I intend, so you guys, truly believe in that. You guys keep just going with the process, keep protecting your mindset, and most importantly, just believe in yourself as traders. You guys have got this. There's a lot of support. I'm going to be dropping, Courtney's still teaching. She does private lessons. Micah does private lessons as well. There's a bunch of different resources out here for you guys. So just definitely stay connected with me. Follow me on Instagram. It's Kiss India. You can still follow my Trade Love page because I am, intending to do something really awesome next year. So I'll keep you guys posted with that. I'm going to close out the Trade Love chat, but I'll keep the announcement page open so that, you guys can still stay connected. I'll still be sharing some insights and lessons and pieces of my journey. Still always trading, still loving that, still traveling and doing all that great stuff. So Again, thank you guys so much for being a part of the Trade Love Academy. Thank you guys for being a part of this group. I'm rooting for everyone. I'm proud of every one of you guys, and I can't wait to see, where your journey takes you. I will make sure to, again, kind of just drop the steps to the strategy that I use, the steps to just a bunch of different resources, just to make sure I'm not gonna leave y'all high and dry. But again, you guys are awesome. Have an amazing rest of your trading day and trading year. And I will speak to you guys soon. Trade with love. And okay, yeah, I think you guys have the analysis too. Gold, we didn't do gold, but again, here's our support. We see we're coming down. We'll see if it comes down to this 43.55 area, which is our P4. Pretty sure. Oh, I love a good fib. Low to high, that's our 50. Boom. Y'all have a great day.